Precious fabric. We all have those pieces of fabric in our stash that for whatever reason we are afraid to cut into. So for today's video, I am going to be sharing with you 4 different pieces of fabric that I consider to be precious and try to decide what I'm going to make with these fabrics. So if that's something that you might be interested in, then you know what to do. Keep watching. Hey Stitchers, your girl Chris here. Welcome to Unsocial, where it is totally cool to obsess over everything sewing. For today's video, we're going to be chit-chatting about precious fabric. I have them, and I'm pretty sure if you have been sewing, then you have them too. Those pieces of fabric, for whatever reason, we are terrified of cutting into. I mean, I have had fabrics in my stash for years, and I just haven't touched them. Either because I didn't feel ready to work with the type of fabric, or because they were gifted to me, or I just didn't want to mess them up. I wasn't sure what I wanted to make. I was second guessing whether the project I had in mind would pair beautifully with the fabric. I wasn't sure if I could replace the fabric. All of these considerations run through my mind and prevent me from putting my scissors on my fabric. But that is about to change. Now, Whitney of Tomcat Stitchery reached out to me and asked me if I was willing to join her Precious Fabrics Challenge that is going to be running throughout the month of September. Obviously, I said yes because 1, I like to support different challenges in the sewing community, and 2, I knew that would be motivation for me to pull out at least one piece of precious fabric and finally convert that fabric into something that I would be proud, hopefully, to wear. Now, the challenge kicked off on the 1st of September and runs all the way to the 30th of September, and each day a different sewist or sewists, plural, will be sharing right here on the YouTube platform their precious fabric and what they decided to do with it. Now, my date for sharing is the 22nd of September, so if you are curious to see which precious fabric I end up working with and what that fabric becomes, then please come back on the 22nd of September and check out my video. Alright. Now it's time to show you guys the fabric. So these are today's beauties. And these fabrics are considered precious fabrics to me for a multitude of reasons. The first one I'm going to start with is this plissé fabric. And it is a gradient type plissé fabric. And I have had this fabric in my stash for far too long. You can tell if you have been here before that I bought this fabric years ago simply because of the colors used. Now, I had my colors done and I am a twilight winter, which means deep jewel tones are better suited to me than are these pastel colors. But I really like this fabric. I have had it languish in my stash for too long, and it's not something that I'm willing to part with. I figure that I'm going to make an elastic waist skirt with it, and so it will be further from my face and perfectly fine for me to pair with something that is probably a little bit more flattering on me in terms of the color scheme. But you guys, the reason I haven't sewn with this fabric yet is because I have no experience sewing with plissé fabric. Now, this is a fabric that is actually like pre-pleated. Now, I feel like I've even crushed my fabric because it has been folded in my stash for so long, and I'm going to have to research now how best to treat with this fabric so that I do not inadvertently get rid of those pre-pressed pleats. Oh my goodness, try saying that quickly 3 times. So for that reason, this fabric is choice number 1 for the Precious Fabrics Challenge. What do you guys think of this fabric? Have you ever worked with plissé before? If you have, please drop me a comment down below and let me know perhaps the skills and techniques best suited for working with this fabric. Now, the next fabric I want to share with you is actually 2 fabrics, but I bought both fabrics together with a particular project in mind. So this is a knit fabric. This is actually a swimsuit fabric, and I bought it from Style Maker Fabrics, I want to say at least 3 years ago, something like that. It's been a while, you guys. And I bought it with these smaller polka dots, and then I also bought a piece in these larger polka dots, intending to make a swimsuit that mixed both prints together. I just thought that would be so cool to have the smaller polka dots and the larger polka dots sort of mesh. However, I was very hesitant because I did not have, at the time of buying this fabric, any experience at all sewing swimwear. But I saw it, I felt ambitious, and so I bought it. But by the time it got here, I got cold feet, you guys, and I folded both of these fabrics after pre-washing them, and they landed in my stash, never to be seen or heard from again. At least not until now. Now I have made now 3 swimsuits. I made one last year, the MEASU Cutter Slow, and I have made 2 this year, both the new look 6734. Now I have a full review here on the channel about that swimsuit pattern. That is the new look pattern, not the MEASU pattern. And I'll drop the link right here so you can run ahead and check out both of my swimsuits. Now that I have a little bit of swimsuit sewing under my belt, I feel like the time has come for me to cut into these fabrics. Now I know I don't want to make the new look pattern again because I already have 2 of the same silhouette, and so I want to try something different. But I am also aware that I cannot particularly twirl swimsuits in the way that I would twirl like a woven pattern. With a woven pattern, I can buy muslin fabric or use an old tablecloth or an old bed sheet or something like that and sew up a mock of the particular pattern. That is not the same with swimsuit fabric. You can only twirl a swimsuit with the appropriate fabric, and different knits have different like stretch percentages, and so you can't really, at least as far as I'm aware, twirl your knit makes in the same way as you would your woven makes. So I am still a little bit hesitant because I really want to make a swimsuit that fits me, that flatters me, and that does not end up wasting not 1 but 2 amazing fabrics. If you guys have any suggestions for swimsuit patterns, be sure to drop them in the comment section down below. I do own, I think, 2 or 3 of the ones from Edgewater Avenue, but I've never sewn any of those up. I have no experience in working with her patterns. They all look amazing. I'm a little bit concerned about like the fit, especially at the boob area. They don't have any like cup support, and so if I make up a swimsuit, then I think I want to this time try and add cups, which I had not done in any of the other 3 swimsuits that I have made. So wish me luck, you guys. If these become the precious fabric picks, wish me luck. Like say a prayer or 2 or 3. Now, the third piece I want to share with you, is this the third piece or the fourth piece? Technically speaking, it's the 4th piece of fabric, and so let's go with that. The 4th piece of fabric I want to share with you was actually a gift from my friend Carol of @Carosi over on Instagram. Now, Carol is another island girl. She lives on the island of Barbados, and we became fast friends over on Instagram and had been speaking for years and years before we finally got a chance to meet up earlier this year. Now, Carol had messaged me on Instagram, I think it probably was January or so, to let me know that she had purchased me 2 pieces or 3 pieces of fabric over Christmas, intending for them to be my Christmas gift. She hadn't gotten around to posting them, and I cut her some slack because she's really busy. It turned out that I had an opportunity to visit Barbados earlier in the year, and I had a chance to meet Carol in person. Obviously, we went fabric shopping, and I did share a fabric haul from that first trip here on the channel. You can find the link right here. But she also brought me my gifted fabric. Obviously, because it's gifted, it's precious, because I definitely don't want to screw up a piece of fabric that has been gifted to me by anyone else, especially a sew sister that I only had the opportunity of meeting this year after all of these years of talking. So this is the fabric that Carol bought me, and I just think this is gorgeous. Obviously, she knows me pretty well because she hit the nail on the head in terms of the colors of the fabric. These colors suit my color season perfectly, save and except probably the little bit of yellow sprinkled in this fabric. The rest of the colors are perfection for me. Now, look at how gorgeous this fabric is. I'm not actually sure what the substrate is. It is definitely not a cotton. I'm not sure if it's like a silky print, maybe a polyester base. It looks like it has some texture, so perhaps like a bubble crepe. You guys, I don't know what it is, but I know I like it. It has lots and lots of drape, and I think she bought me 4 yards of this fabric, which is more than enough for me to bang out an amazing dress. Now, what dress pattern do I have in mind? None at the moment. I'm leaving it for you guys to let me know what you think this fabric should become. I'm definitely leaning towards a dress just because it's 4 yards of fabric and I want to use up as much of that fabric as possible. Now typically I can get a dress out of like 3 yards of fabric, but that is usually like a short dress with some gathers. If I wanted to make a maxi dress, then I definitely would need more fabric. For example, 4 yards of fabric. Now in other countries, I know some of you are moving towards the cooler times. Fall is well on its way, but where I live, it's hot pretty much all year round. And so for that reason, I tend to avoid maxi dresses because, listen, I need my legs to breathe in this heat. But I am actually considering making some sort of maxi dress just because I want to get usage out of all of this gorgeous fabric. I mean, I can consider making a set. I saw MEASU recently make a set with a button-down shirt and some flowy pants, but then I'm wondering whether I would have enough yardage from the 4 yardage to make myself trousers and a button down. I mean, that to me would be super, super chic and give off like a rich auntie vibe. So I could also consider that route, but I'm going to think about it, and so should you. So drop me a comment and let me know what you guys think about this one. Now the last fabric I want to share with you is actually still in its bag. If you have been sewing for any time, or if you haven't been sewing but you're interested in fabrics for whatever reason, then you know Liberty is the place to be. I got some Liberty fabric last year for my birthday. My sister cousin actually gifted me 3 pieces of Liberty fabric, 2 of which I have already made and shared with here on the channel. I made them up for the Hot Girl Summer Challenge. I'll pop the link to that video right here. And I wasn't as delighted with those makes as I probably could have been. Separately, I can wear both pieces, but together, which was what was intended by the challenge, I'm not so sure. Anyway, pop on over to that video and then be sure to let me know on that video what you think of the Hot Girl Summer Challenge. So this is actually the 3rd piece of fabric that my sister cousin bought me. And you guys, I still have it in the bag and still have it in the wrapping on the inside because it is just so precious to me, and I definitely don't want to dirty this fabric or mess it up in any way. This one is going to be a little bit more restrictive in terms of sewing up because it is only 1 yard. Now I could possibly squeeze out a 1 yard wonder, maybe a nice blouse or something like that, but I'm going to have to research very carefully, try out the fabric placements on the fabric and all of that jazz to make sure that I get everything I need out of the 1 yard of fabric. I know it's going to be difficult. It's definitely going to be a challenge for me, but it's not impossible because I have made things using like remnant pieces of fabric before, which I'm pretty sure were like a yard or a little bit less than a yard. So without further ado, let's present the fabric. This, you guys, is a yard of Liberty silk. You heard me correctly. Liberty silk fabric. This shit retails for like 60 quid for a yard. So you know that this piece of fabric is precious beyond precious beyond precious. Isn't it gorgeous though? Look at how beautiful this piece of fabric is. Oh my goodness, you guys. It is gorgeous. I definitely cannot afford to screw up this piece of fabric. Now, in terms of the fabric width, I want to say that it is probably 44 or maybe 52 in terms of its width. And it only is 1 yard, so I am going to have to think very, very, very carefully about a pattern for this fabric. Now, you guys, let me know, what do you think of this fabric? Have you guys ever bought or been gifted Liberty fabrics before? If you have, then you understand just how I feel about this piece of fabric and how I cannot afford to mess it up with my scissors, with dull needles, with dull pins, with a piece of chocolate, nothing. I cannot screw up this fabric. So drop me a comment down below once again and let me know what you think of this fabric and if you have any suggestions for 1 yard wonders. Now, those are the 5 pieces of fabric that I consider to be precious. Are there more in my stash? Obviously, there are definitely more pieces of fabric in my stash that have been in there way too long for fear of cutting into them and then ruining them. But this challenge, I thought, was a great initiative by Whitney because it's encouraging us not just to hoard all these lovely pieces of fabric, but convert them into things that we can wear and enjoy. So I was really glad that Whitney reached out to me. And Whitney, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for having me as part of your challenge. And I'm looking forward to sewing up something from at least one of these fabrics and sharing it right here on the channel again on September 22nd, 2024. Now you guys, that is all I had to share with you today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I have already invited you several times throughout the video to leave me a comment. But as a reminder, leave me a comment. Leave me 2 comments if you want to. Let me know what you think these fabrics are destined to become. Now, if you have got this far, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you as part of my YouTube sewing family. And I know secretly you would also like to be a part of the family, and it's easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button. So you guys, until next time, stay calm, stay cool, stay safe, and go dig up your precious fabric and make it into something beautiful. Peace.